On this episode of The State of Happiness, we have Denise Arand. She's a financial expert with 5 Rings Financial, and she also hosts Wine, Women, and Wealth educational events here in San Diego. She's here to talk about how women have been ignored by the financial services industry and how to never lose money. Stay tuned. Welcome to The State of Happiness. I'm your host, Leslie Juvin-Acker, Chief Happiness Officer at Leslie Inc., where we provide solutions for finding happiness for stressed, anxious, and overwhelmed senior-level managers, executives, and entrepreneurs. The State of Happiness podcast offers you conversation, inspiration, and ideas for helping you increase your happiness in the areas of your personal relationships, your career, your abundance, and your emotional well-being. So come along with us on this episode, and we'll help you get the tools, resources, and inspiration you need to help you find your own state of happiness. What's the first thing you think when you hear the word money? Did you know that this first thought sets a subconscious pattern rooted in childhood that can either set you up for financial success or failure? There is a way to change your relationship to the word money and every other word in the financial dictionary. With the money formula, in 7 steps and 15 minutes or less, you have a protocol to help change your relationship with money forever. Coming soon to Amazon and a bookstore near you and the Leslie Inc. digital store. Find The Money Formula this fall. For more information about The Money Formula and when we're coming to a city near you for a book signing, sign up at themoneyformula.leslieinc.org. That's themoneyformula.leslieinc.org. Thank you so much, Denise, for joining us today on this episode of The State of Happiness.
Thanks for having me, Leslie. I really am excited to share with you today.
Yes. I'm so glad that you're our first person for the month of abundance in August, because we really want to empower our listeners to make their best financial decisions ever, so that way they don't have to live in fear. And I know that you are in so many ways a financial expert. Can you tell us a little bit more about your job and how you help women and professionals?
Well, gosh, that's a big question. So about 20 years ago, I found myself laid off from my profession. And I thought, well, I think I'm going to start looking around in this little town that I live in New Mexico, and see what I can do. And I found that there was a position open as a financial planner with this company. And I really thought, well, this is a little town, and I never thought I'd be in this business, but I love helping people with their money. I love helping them understand what they can do for their futures in so many ways. So I'd check it out. So I did. And I started working as a stockbroker, mutual fund salesperson. And I really found that while I loved helping people put their money someplace for their future, I did not love the idea they were putting it in someplace with a lot of risk. After 2001 went by, I started looking around for opportunities to help people where they had no risk but had an opportunity to get the upside of the market. So no downside risk, upside potential of the market. And I fell in love with the products that I work with now. It's been a real boon to have the opportunity to help people and not have them end up with a big loss right at the time they want to retire. So that's what I do now. I work with people. I help them find their way for their safe money.
It's so interesting because, I got my career started in 2008 when the economic depression happened, and it was an opportunity for me, but a lot of people lost a lot of money. I know we did. Our house value went from, almost $250,000 and it went down more than half. And it was scary. And I'm just so glad that you're here today, because money doesn't have to be scary. Investing doesn't have to be scary. Let's take everybody, all of our happy campers, on the journey of how we met, shall we?
That sounds awesome.
So one day I was starting my Monday out, and I usually begin my Mondays meditating, and I ask Spirit, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, to give me the priorities for the week. So I'm sitting down in my garden, I'm meditating, becoming one with the universe, and Spirit says, go to a networking event this week. I'm going, okay, I don't know what networking event. I don't have anything on my schedule, but okay. So I walk into the office and I say to Anna, our VP of development, I said, Spirit says we got to go to a networking event this week. What is that? And she goes, oh, you wouldn't believe it. I'm having an email conversation with a woman named Denise right now with Wine Women in Wealth, and we're going to go there tonight. Sound good? And I said, well, I guess that's where we're supposed to go. So we head over there, and you are hosting it with your lovely husband, Chris, who's also your, quote, sommelier, who serves wine. And you welcome women into this conversation about wealth over wine.
Yep, absolutely. You know, it's funny because money has been a scary thing for many women for many years. And really, the financial services industry hasn't done any favors. They pretty much ignored women and patted us on the head and said, trust me, darling, I'll take care of you. Well, I found that if we could have some fun, have a little wine, have a little appetizers, have a little money conversation, and meet some other great women and build an awesome community, that let women have that feeling about money, that success, that feeling good about money, and that success that they were seeking. Now, we only let a few guys into Wine Women in Wealth, only the ones who are serving us wine or buying the drinks. So
that's great.
It's a community of women.
I love it. You know, it was so awesome too, is not only do you have this conversation about it, but you recommend some financial reading, and you review a chapter in one of these books. And it's not a book club where you have to show up and read it. You just, you know, listen to a chapter or listen to the summary of a chapter. And on top of that, you give away books. And I love that. As a bibliophile, I have probably 1,000 books here at my house, but I love the fact that you give them away with no obligation. And on top of that, you said, if you win it, you have the opportunity to go out to lunch. I'll take you out to lunch and we can talk about money or whatever it is, no obligation, just for fun. And I got lucky enough to win it, because I knew I was going to, actually, but I got lucky enough to win it.
Hooray. We love books too. And, you know, Oprah always said that if there's a book club where she could not have to read the book and just show up and drink the wine and talk to the women there, she'd go. So I'm still waiting for you, Oprah. So if you're out there, come on down.
Absolutely, girl.
But I love the idea of sharing these tidbits. Women are busy. And so, yes, having a good book to read is awesome when you can find little snippets of time to do it. But sometimes you just want someone to give you that, and if you're old enough to remember the Reader's Digest condensed versions, just give you that condensed version, give you the most important points, and then make it fun and interesting. That's what we do.
You know what? Wine Women in Wealth, you said, did you say 42 or 43 different states? 42
or 43 different states. So right now, I think 43. We opened up Montana and Washington State, I believe, in the last couple of months. And here's what's really exciting is that we're educating women nationwide now. We, even here in San Diego County, which is where our office is, we have about 12 different events, different distinct events women can attend per month, in different areas to make it convenient. But we have Wine Women in Wealth events in Virginia, in Florida, in Oklahoma, in Texas, in Colorado, in Montana. And what's so cool about that is women are getting educated, and getting educated in such a sense they don't have to feel like there's some obligation to work with us. We put it out there. It's a gift. And I know that what goes around comes around. So I just want to educate. And if someone is so inclined to talk further, then great. If not, just keep coming, be a part of our community, and enjoy the education.
Right. Because it really is about creating a community of financially confident women. Now, You work with Five Rings Financial. Tell us a little bit about what makes you different as a financial expert and why you love Five Rings Financial so much.
Well, coming from a very traditional background, selling stocks and mutual funds and, working cold calling, door knocking, all that stuff, I found that I really wanted to work with people and build relationships with them because we're talking about their money. And it's really, really important. So Five Rings really endorses that concept. It also is a huge, Five Rings as an organization is a huge proponent of education. We feel like educated people make great decisions. So we educate first. And if someone, again, is so inclined, raises their hand, says, I'd like to know more about that, then we'll work with them. Otherwise, we don't bother them. So you don't have to get in the witness protection program to get away from us or anything after an event. It's a very laid back relational environment because we're working with a very personal topic, which is money. On top of that, we work with a narrow range of products, but with 30 to 36 different companies that we can custom design plans for people that, again, go up when the market goes up, but stay level when the market goes down so you never lose. Right. That, for me, gives me peace of mind.
Well, it's great, too, because you can literally say, I'm not here to risk or gamble or lose your money, but you have a place to keep it safe. It can stay the same, it'll grow, but you won't lose it. And that's a lot of peace of mind. But let's talk about some of the common problems that women have when it comes to money. I have a handful of questions myself, but what are the common questions that women ask you when it comes to their financial problems?
Well, I think maybe we can kind of just look at what some of the things that keep you from being financially successful are. One is debt. We really help people try to overcome their debt because if you've got debt at 18 or 19 or 25% interest and can't earn enough to cover that, you're going to lose the money game. So we really work with people on overcoming their debt. It's not part of what we get paid for, so to speak. It's just a service that we offer because it's so important. And then people also think, I don't have enough time, I'm older, or I'm too young, I can't start. We work with people on overcoming that mindset block. We also help people who are they're so confused by the financial services industry. They've got this 401k at work. They don't know how it works. They don't know what to do with it. We sit down and we develop a plan for them that it's comprehensive. And that's another thing that we can do because people get confused. It's a lot of information, and most financial advisors speak in a language that people don't understand. We call it insurance ease for that IRA, 401k, 403b, 457, alphabet soup of stuff to help it all become easy.
Right. And you know what? As we were talking about over that lunch we had together, which was super fun, by the way. I hope we can have it again soon.
Yeah,
I'm going to win another lunch with Denise. But
all right.
what I remember I was saying to you is, my grandparents, they didn't have a college education. In fact, they had a GED, and they invested, and they made really, really well for themselves. So the fact is that you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to have a college education. In fact, you can start making good financial choices, and education is the start of that. And more importantly, someone who actually cares and wants you to be a success is really that pivoting point.
Totally. I totally agree. And a lot of women are, and I really am gearing towards women right now just because that's where my passion lies. To develop the Wine Women and Wealth program really is, it was my heart that said to do that. It was spirit speaking to me as you were saying. It was really, this is the place where the biggest need is. But we help men too. So you guys out there, don't feel bad. I'm not leaving you out. But a lot of women feel like, oh gosh, if I just marry well, or I just have a guy who really understands money, show me what to do. Honey, that is just giving your power away. A man is not a plan. And I know I said that the other day and I thought you liked it, so we're throwing it in again.
That's right. A man is not a plan.
But if you are in a relationship with a man, be a good partner, be educated, be smart, bring something to the table. Think about how much more equal that is and how better you feel about yourself with it. So we want to help women be financially savvy and strong and confident.
That's so True. For me, as I begin to get my book, The Money Formula, out there, the portion of my book is about changing your relationship with money. But then when you change your relationship with money and you start to feel more confident and not so guilty and not so ashamed, not so burdened or worried or stressed, then what do you do? Where do you go? And I think Five Rings is a great place to start. How could somebody get started with you?
Well, here's a really exciting thing about Five Rings. One of the things I loved when I was doing my due diligence and seeking out a new company to go to, um, that was, 11, 12 years ago, we don't charge a fee. So it doesn't cost people anything to sit down and talk with us. That is one of the biggest fear factors people have is I'm going to pay $2,000 or $3,000 for a plan. What if it's not the right one for me? No, we sit down and we talk with you about our first appointment's always all about you. So if it was you and me, Leslie, it'd be, okay, today's all about Leslie. What's going on with you? What makes you happy? What keeps you up at night? What worries you? And then where do you want to be in the future?
Mm.
And so we talk about those things. And then we don't even talk about product that first appointment. That would be like a doctor saying, oh, you're here now. Here's your prescription, without even asking any questions.
Mm.
We try to find out what it is you really want, a very personal approach. And then we go away, we come back with some suggestions and ideas and solutions. And we kind of work it together to work what feels best to you. The great thing about that is that I am always happy to offer, a half an hour, even 45 minutes to an hour, personal front-end appointments. So you can say, okay, interview me, figure out if this is right for you and if it's right for us, if the things we have are going to work for you. Because at least that way, even if you said, nope, not for me, you'd at least know what you were saying no to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Education is important. I think
Oh, it's key.
women should be empowered to ask questions to these people that they're hiring. Well, what's your performance, and what's your story? I mean, Denise, do you have a story of a woman that you've worked with who's really overcome something difficult in their own financial life?
Oh my gosh, I have many, many, many stories. Hence the book, Wine, Women, and Wealth, which will be coming out soon, folks. So keep your eyes open for it.
Yay!
We should sell it as a package with your book, Leslie. I think that sounds perfect.
Ooh, okay.
Let's go. One of the, gosh, there's so many stories, but I have a couple. One would be, I'm just going to call her Anne. She was a woman who came to Wine, Woman, and Wealth, and she was in a pretty crummy marriage. She was really, her husband was verbally abusive. He didn't let her really do anything without a lot of strife in her life, but they had no money. Oh. And she was scared to death. She didn't have enough money to leave him, And when a woman is in that situation, that's really, really sad. If money is the only thing keeping you from that. So we talked, and not all of most of our people are very mainstream. So this is a more extreme situation, but we talked about, what she could do and where she could go. And she finally just stood up a little bit to him, but made it sound palatable to him and said, look, if I could just get a little job outside the house. The kids are in school now. I'll just work during the day while they're at school. She actually got a job at the school. This isn't anything, again, that Five Rings helped her with as far as here's a product, she bought it and it's all good. But she actually got a job with the confidence that she gained from all the women in our community at Wine, Women, and Wealth. She was able to muster up the courage to save a little bit of that money that she was making and finally get a little place for herself and her kids, and finally was able to separate herself from that abusive situation, which that just speaks to the community.
Wow.
Now, I have another one if you want it.
Yes, please.
So I had a client really early on when I first moved out to San Diego. Her name is Julie, and she was very. She's kind of a hippie from the '60s. She's probably in her 70s now. So she was wearing these gauzy clothes, and she loved supplements and vitamins and natural eating. And her goal someday was to live in a commune where everyone worked together, and up in Ojai. And actually, she's there now. But she inherited a bunch of money from her parents. She had no idea. It was like $300,000. It was a lot of money to her. She'd always worked at like a Sprouts or in the vitamin department, because that was her world. She loved nutrition and how to be healthier and how to eat more naturally. So to get this $300,000, she was kind of boondoggled by it. That's a technical word, by the way, boondoggled. And she didn't really know what to do with it. So she invested it in socially responsible funds. And this was in like 2006, 2007. So things, like, I think it was Tesla was one of them. And some of the really solar companies, those things that were going to make the world a better place.
Right.
However, socially responsible funds can go up and down.
Right.
And in 2007, we started working together, and I said, Julie, this is a great thing, these social responsible funds, and you are investing in good companies, but they can go right up and down, just like Philip Morris and cigarette companies and all the companies that aren't doing great things for the world. So I said, let's move them over to something that doesn't ever lose. And end of 2007, we had moved those over. And in October, when the market started to fall of 2008, October of 2008, she watched her sister's money pretty much go up in smoke. Was worth $150,000. Joni not only kept all of her gains from the time up until October of 2008, but never lost a cent.
Wow.
She called me crying and just said, this was my parents' money. It was the last thing they left me. And I know it's money. It's not that sentimental, but it is to me. And I didn't lose the money my parents worked so hard for. That to me was amazing.
Wow. So basically, you can even get in later in the game. I think Chris said to me that over lunch that most people don't start investing until their early 50s.
Right. Most people don't start saving for retirement until they're 53 years old. And that's usually due to the fact that they've got kids, they've got stuff going on, they're putting some money in their 401k, but not really paying much attention. But all of a sudden, the kids go off to college, they've got a little extra money, and then they kind of put their hand on their forehead and go, oh my gosh, I forgot to save for retirement. So we understand how that works, and we can help people with that as well. And we'll be very realistic about what it's going to take to achieve the retirement that you're wishing for. But the good news is that most people are making the most amount of money they'll make in their lives beginning at about age 55.
Wow.
So that's good news.
Well, that's great. Well, it sounds like there is no such thing as a late start. As long as you're living, you got life and you got opportunity and hope. And I definitely suggest, if you're listening today, to take advantage of Denise's offer. How can they reach out to you? What's your website? What's your phone number? So they can get a hold of that 30-minute or maybe even 1 hour, depending on how good it goes, that consultation.
Leslie, from our lunch, that I do love a great conversation. So it might go for a little while if you have the time, right?
Right.
So you can reach out to me on Arand's Money Info. It's ARANDS MONEYINFO.com. That's our website. You can also find me on Facebook, Denise Arand, or under Arand's Money Info on Facebook, or Wine, Women, and Wealth California on Facebook. So lots of ways to reach out to me. And if not, certainly, Leslie, if they get in touch with you through this podcast, can you connect them with me?
Absolutely. Just write us at hello@leslieinc.org and just say, connect me with Denise in the subject line.
That would be terrific.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your message today. I really want to empower women and young professionals to get a hold of their finances now. You don't have to be afraid of them. Do you have any other parting words of wisdom?
Well, we were talking about starting late and starting early. And this is a really good thing to remember about your money. Time and money are two sides of the same coin, right? The more time you need, the less money, the more time you have, the less money it takes. The less time you have, the more money it takes. The sooner you can start saving for retirement, the sooner you can start putting money away for college funding for your kids, the sooner you can start saving for that just giant pile of money that you want, the better. So give me a call.
There you go. Don't waste any time, because if you waste your time, it'll cost you.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you so much, Denise. I appreciate it. Remember, reach out to Wine Women in Wealth in Southern California or in the state nearest you. And you can also reach out to Denise and Chris Arand at 5 Rings Financial today. You can Google them and let us know how it went after your consultation. Thanks for joining us today, Denise. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Leslie. Looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
A many thanks to you, happy campers, for joining us today on this episode of The State of Happiness. If you'd like to continue the conversation, you can join me at Twitter at Leslie Juvin, as well as follow at Leslie Inc. on Instagram, and talk with us at Facebook at Official Leslie Inc. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to leave us a rating and subscribe and share with a friend. As always, thanks for joining us, and remember, a smile goes a long way. It's 2:00 in the morning. You can't sleep. Your mind is racing, thinking about work, your career, and your future. How can I get a raise? Why is my boss being so difficult? What am I doing wrong? What's keeping you up at night? If you had the answers to these questions, what choices would you make? Thanks to Leslie Inc.'s Happiness Decks app, Career Edition, you can have the answers to these questions. In less than 60 seconds, you can gain essential perspective and insight to the questions that are keeping you up at night. Download it today. Leslie Inc.'s Happiness Decks app, available in the Apple Store and Google Play Store. Get the answers you need and feel good about tomorrow. Get exclusive news and invitations today at leslieinc.org/app. Get the answers you need with the Happiness Decks app by Leslie Inc.